unwanted touching is the line that should never be crossed.
It's that kind of misunderstanding of how well do you know that person. You actually don't know them at all. The overfamiliarity is probably underplaying it.
Today, I'm sitting down with Dan Byrne and Josh Denzel to shine a light on the Enough campaign. It's a national campaign focused on calling out abuse against women and girls and promoting positive, respectful behaviour. By knowing what to look out for and how to challenge harmful behaviour, we can all play a part in creating change. Dan, Josh, thank you so much for being part of what's a really important chat. Dan, I'll start with you. As somebody that's come throughout the football pyramid, throughout the different leagues, has changing room banter changed at all the higher up you get in the pyramid?
I don't think particularly going up through the leagues has changed too much. I think it's probably changed a lot since I first started playing, so like sort of 2009 to now. I think there's been a big difference. Things that were maybe classed as acceptable back then definitely aren't now. And I also think as well, the FA do a lot of stuff within clubs now with work on diversity or religion or sexual orientation. So I feel like you're a bit more aware now than you were in the past.
I mean, you're in and around football a lot. What have you found the environment to be like at men's football, and have you found it to change at all?
Going to football used to be a male-dominated arena, whereas now, I'll go with my fiance. The groups that sit next to me is, husband and wife. There's two women who sit directly behind me, but also their attitudes towards seeing women at football has changed massively. And I know Arsenal's probably quite a forward-thinking club in a multicultural area, but definitely even going away, you'd hear, certain chants coming from either the away end or the home end, whereas now that has almost completely been erased. And when you do have somebody maybe try and start a chant that's kind of a little bit unsavoury, people around will definitely now call out that behaviour.
I was a season ticket holder at Newcastle as well, and I feel like when I was a kid, you sort of, the things that you used to hear then, like I don't think you do hear that now, and it was sort of one of those when you were there, you would get like, don't repeat what you hear.
Yeah.
Like the football, sort of that sort of thing. So I feel now, and I feel people are more comfortable now in calling people out.
Josh, I want to ask you about Love Island.
Hit me.
Listen,
Hit me.
I watched your season, iconic. What was that like in terms of the attention you got afterwards? Was it overfamiliar?
Yeah, I think when you watch somebody, obviously I was a fan of the show before I went on it, and you feel like you get kind of an insight into their personality. But coming off the show, I think there was definitely a sense of, that's my guy, or even the girl that I was with after the show. We went on a number of personal appearances in clubs up and down the country. The overfamiliarity is probably underplaying it, where you'd have you'd have like a section, you kind of go and have your picture taken, there'd be a queue of people, but it felt like there were no boundaries. They'd have your arm around the shoulder, they'd be grabbing people around the waist. That was something that, I had to deal with, but I think the girls got it worse. It's that kind of misunderstanding of how well do you know that person. You actually don't know them at all.
I mean, you must get that as well, sort of with fans.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, they see you on TV, or they come to watch you play, or they'll see media stuff that we do, and then they think that they know you, and it's the same. Like they're sort of obviously a bit more personal than I would like them to be.
Is that difficult to navigate, Josh? Because
yeah, I mean for sure. Because I guess like you as a footballer, you kind of are. It's very different. I'm not saying I'm a hero, but you're a hero to a lot of the people who obviously watch your team. And if somebody kind of gets a little bit too close in your own personal space, you don't feel like you can react in the way that you want to react for fear of retribution. Whether someone posts online he's not a nice guy, he's a bit of an arse or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So you end up kind of accepting a lot of stuff that you probably wouldn't necessarily accept.
And we've heard about your guys' experiences on this, and just thinking about women, this behaviour can happen in lots of different environments, football stadiums, public transport, but I guess it's important to recognise when it crosses a line. Have you ever been out and heard men say, I was just flirting, or it was just a bit of banter, but actually the recipient has felt uncomfortable with that behaviour? Yeah,
100%. They'll say something to someone expecting a certain reaction, and then if they don't get the reaction that they want, then they just put it down to just sort of joking and bantering, and it does make you feel uncomfortable when you're around that. I feel like I've noticed that as I'm getting older, I'm more aware of it. And I still think I could be better at calling out that sort of behaviour. I feel like there's always a bit like you don't want to be person doing that, but I feel like now, especially like we spoke before, now that I've had a daughter and I can put myself in what the environment I would want her to grow up in and how I would want her to feel, I think it's made us really sort of question like people's behaviour when you're out them and sort of friends' behaviour, or when you're out and you're a bit more aware of what's going on and trying to make the sort of women that are around you feel comfortable. You don't want to make them feel like that. So
yeah, absolutely. And I guess it can be tricky because somebody may just think that they're flirting, but actually it's important to recognise if the other person is feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think a lot of times as men and as guys, like you're worried about yourself. You're worried about kind of your own actions and how you look, rather than how somebody else might feel like they're in a bar and they think they're being hilarious. They're thinking they're being a class clown or a joker, and they're really not aware or understanding of how that could make the other person feel. They've got to be better at calling each other out at that, because, you play it off as it's just banter, or we're just having a laugh, or I'm just out and about, just flirting. It's never like that.
Have you ever had a situation where any behaviour has been called out for being inappropriate?
yeah, I think more now. When I first started coming through to how many women are working in football now, I think that's had a positive impact, and I do think it makes you more aware of what you're saying and wanting sort of your colleagues to be comfortable in sort of the environment that you work in.
And Josh, just on that, calling out inappropriate behaviour, have you ever experienced that, and what kind of reaction has it got?
Definitely, like Dan says, like it's becoming a lot more common, where back in the day people say it's just banter or something like that, where you don't really want to be seen as a killjoy, as I guess it were. But now definitely, even in group chats, or understanding that people are a lot more confident in saying, right, okay, no, that's actually not acceptable. We're not going to have that in the group chat. We're not going to allow that to carry on. You might also side chat somebody, right, instead of calling them out in the group, which makes a lot of things a lot easier and allows you to get your point across and be like, this is the reason why that's unacceptable. And it's like an education thing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's lots of different types of behaviours that maybe people don't think is classified as unwanted behaviour. They might think it's harmless. Things like touching someone's hair or brushing up against someone on public transport. There's quite a few that cross the line that maybe some people don't realise. I've had it where a guy might be trying to get past, but they linger their hand a bit too long or put it on your hips, which it feels uncomfortable, inappropriate. And it can happen anywhere.
Yeah, I'm surprised that people wouldn't realise that is crossing the line. The fact that we're talking about is scary, but I think sort of unwanted touching is the line that should never be crossed. I think is like, as you're brought up, you feel as if there's certain behaviours that you think are actually protecting women, but now that we're sort of getting through it, and you think like putting a hand on someone to keep your distance between them, you might feel comfortable doing that and think you're doing the right thing, but actually it's unwanted touching.
So actually, unwanted sexual touching was the most common type of sexual assault experienced in the last year. Does that surprise you?
Yeah, I can't really believe it. There's so many different types of kind of unwanted touching. I guess it covers a lot of different things, but that is surprising. Yeah, it's great to get an understanding and be super clear on what could consist of, in this type of behaviour, and it can have very serious consequences. It can be escalated. What's
the sort of simple thing that men can do to help these sort of situations?
I think probably just being more aware. A lot of the times when we're in those sort of places, you just sort of sat on your phone, you probably don't realise the environment that you're in. But I think, just like looking up at your phone, like realising, like, sometimes I've been walking the dog in the morning, it's dark, and there's only me and, like, say, a lady across the road, and like before I've never really thought that would make her feel uncomfortable, but then like you check yourself and go, actually, like, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, like pitch black with only 2 people out here. Like, you might like change where you're going across the road just to make, like, just little things that you just need to be aware of that could make someone more comfortable, I think, because I think there's a lot of times we say that, like, education is it, where you're not even aware of the way that you're making someone feel. So,
and also you're a big guy. Is that something as well that sort of plays a part?
Yeah, possibly. I probably could be quite intimidating when I'm out and about, especially like if I've got my hood up and I'm trying to go a bit under the radar. So yeah, it's like, as I was looking through the campaign and stuff, there's lots of things that I was looking down on, like checklists of different stuff, and like thinking, I know someone who is going through something similar. Like, I never realised that was a form of abuse or something that was was like unwanted. Like, you never really see it. So I feel like there'll be a lot of people who are probably either watching this or looking at the campaign and probably thinking, like, there's a lot of things that can be done and sort of words that could be spoken to people.
Huge thank you to both of you, Josh, Dan, for being part of what's really an important conversation. If you'd like to learn more about the campaign, understand the signs of abusive behaviour, or find support, go to gov.uk/enough.